Hello, everyone. It's Sunday once again. It's now in the month of October. This is the first Sunday in October, and soon it will be Christmas. Yes. Well, for those who are so like happy to be so like celebrating Christmas, I think that most people are really happy to do that. But yeah, it's now gone 2 o'clock in the UK, which means it's 9 o'clock in the evening in Manila. Hope you're all having a lovely weekend. Today's guest, I'm really excited about this because, to be honest, when I saw him the first time, he wasn't playing the drums, he was playing the guitar. And I've seen him a few times just playing the guitar. But there was one time that I saw him actually play the drums, and that was absolutely amazing. So I'm really, really looking forward to chatting to him. And also because he's got a connection with Jerry Love, and as many of you know, I am a big fan of Jerry Love, and I'm really excited to talk to him about that. So, my dear friends, please welcome Noel O'Donnell. Yay!
Hello.
Hello, Noel. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Do you know in the Philippines, Noel is actually pronounce it Noel?
Right. Okay. Well, I've got one of these names which can be one or two syllables depending on the way you say it. So even in Scotland, people say my name in different ways. So
Yeah,
I'm fine. I'm
which is
fine with
so
whatever
like.
you call me.
Yeah, which, like I said, so like earlier, that it's nearly Christmas. I mean, Noel is Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Many people
So,
ask me if I was born at Christmas, but I was actually born at Easter time. So there you go.
oh, Easter time.
Yeah.
Well, there's still a
Yeah,
connection with Jesus, so it's
well, a wee bit. Well, my father was Noel, so it's a kind of Irish name. So he was Noel, and I was the second Noel, if you like.
yeah. So you're the junior. You don't put junior on yourself,
No, I
right?
don't. I don't.
No.
No.
And is there any other Noel in your family, like a third?
Funny you should say that. There's not actually all of the my nieces and nephews. I think out of everyone, um, my nephew's middle name is Noel, but no one's actually called not after me. Obviously, I would expected them to have been called after a grandfather, and I
Yeah.
almost called my son Noel, but I was too self conscious. I would have been naming him after my father, but that's not the way people would have seen it. So I chickened out, and then so
It
he's
could have
called
been the
me.
third. It could have been Noel the
In
third.
the
You
third, yeah.
know.
Instead, he's just Lee, so that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I saw you a few weeks ago at Mono Cafe. That was
That's
a
right.
really lovely surprise. And so you've taken a day off, which I'm really
I have.
grateful. I'm
Hmm.
I'm really grateful just to do Ask the Drummer. Um I've got to sort of like say going to Mono is actually sort of like one of the tourist attractions because of monorail music.
Yeah, it's a
And
cool place.
people, yeah. And I think especially music fans, they go there because they want to see Mr. Pastel.
Oh yeah, Stephen. Yeah, I know. It's funny you forget that Stephen's such an icon in the indie music scene, and it's quite. I don't know because I know him so well. It's like kind of.
Yeah.
It's funny when you see people being, "Oh my God, they're Stephen Pastel," sort of thing. Like but absolutely. I mean, the Pastels are legendary and still a great band. So
Yeah. Well, there was one time that I was waiting for my friends, and I've been to monorail music, so I've seen Mr. Pastel, but because I was waiting for my friends, I actually had a coffee at Mono Cafe. But it's a vegetarian vegan cafe, isn't it?
that's right. Yeah.
And I remember so like the person who served me asked me so like what kind of milk do I want, and I was all like thinking,
That
well,
is, well, I mean, the thing is, we've got three. I mean, not everyone is aware that we are vegan, and obviously, a lot of people take milk in their tea and their coffee. So I do encourage my staff to offer, and I would always to try and get over that awkward sort of like we don't do dairy. It's like I just don't. Well, we've got soya, we've got oat, and we've got coconut, and then 9 times out of 10, the response is, "I'll just take normal milk," and then you have to kind of explain that it's vegan, and we don't do dairy in the nicest possible way, and yeah, but
yeah. Well, no, it's good. It's actually really good. I mean, next time I go to Mono, I'm gonna order another sort like coffee. And you cakes as well, vegan cakes
Oh
and
yeah.
things
Hmm.
like that. So, but anyways, welcome to Ask the Drummer.
Thanks.
Episode 95 is all about you, Noel O'Donnell. I mean, you talked about your dad, and so where are the O'Donnells from? Are you born and
So
bred in Glasgow?
my father was originally from Donegal in Ireland. Um, so I mean, it's quite a well, it's a very complicated. We'd be here for 3 hours if I told you all about the history. But long story short, his parents, unfortunately, my grandparents, separated. So all the kids were split up, and my father was fostered up to a wee place in the northwest coast called Morar, and that's why I was ended up being brought up in Malig. Malig's just beside Morar. Um, so yeah, so that's a brief family history.
Yeah. So you're not born in Glasgow,
No, I
but
was born in
born
Inverness. Inverness was the closest
Inverness, right? Okay.
hospital to Malig. So
Ah, yeah, because those places, I don't think I've heard those places before. I thought they were like in Ireland. So it's actually in Inverness. So that's where you were born.
that's where I
And,
was born. Yeah.
and you grew up in Inverness?
No, I grew up in Malig. So Malig is in the northwest coast of Scotland. It's opposite the Isle of Skye. Most people know where the Isle of Skye is, so that
Yeah,
gives
yeah.
you a reference to where it is. And it's a lovely wee village. My mother still lives there, so I get back very often. Not as often as I like, but it's a beautiful part of the country. It's got lovely white sandy beaches and I love the surrounding area, like the small isles. Like there's a place called the Isle of Egg. It has its own
Egg.
music festival, actually. Yeah. And I've got family there. My auntie Peggy, who's my mother's sister, is she going to be 92 next week? It's either
Whoa.
92 or 93. So, and then there's about maybe 3 or 4 generations that have all settled in Egg. So I love going over there. It's maybe about an hour and a half in the boat, and it's another home from home for me. So when I go back to Malaga, I always try and go over to Egg as well. So, and I almost feel like more of a local when I go to Egg because I know a lot more people there than I do in Malig now because a lot of friends of mine that lived in Malig don't have moved away. So
Yeah, yeah. But what was it like? You said that it's really nice and lovely there, but music wise, what was what was it like growing up in in that part of Scotland? It was like,
there wasn't much of a music scene. I guess if there was anything, I guess it would be more traditional music. So Scottish traditional music and a wee bit of a folk scene, I guess.
yeah,
Um, so growing up, the sort of music that I would be doing would be maybe like a friend of mine's mother started this kind of folk group, and she got all the kids to do this concert and sing all these different kind of Scottish songs. So I guess that was the first time that I kind of performed on stage, and I was maybe I don't know, maybe like I was in primary school, so maybe like 7 or 8 or something like that.
wow,
She was a really nice woman, and actually her family are all very talented, traditional musicians, and
yeah,
quite
yeah,
quite sort of, I guess, famous if you like on the folk in the kind of traditional folk scene. Um, so there wasn't a music scene as such, and then the closest place that you could buy music, it was tapes back in those days. Was going to Fort William, which is an hour away in the train, and you would go to like John Menzies or Woolworths that don't exist anymore.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, but are you from a musical family yourself?
Well, yes and no. I think like my mother's side of the family are they're from the Outer Hebrides, like South Uist, and a lot of them play the pipes. And then I've got cousins that from Egg that I was just telling you about there. They play the accordion, the box.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So there's definitely and my mother's a wonderful singer. And my sisters, my big sisters, they used to like sing Gaelic songs. And it was one of my early memories of them singing this particular Gaelic song, and they would sing it in harmony. So
Mm-hmm.
again, from a very young I was very aware of harmonies,
Yeah.
and how they worked. So
Yeah.
from that point of view, yeah, I guess we are. I mean, in terms of playing any musical instruments, I've got a large family, but I'm kind of further down the pecking order, one of the younger ones. I remember picking up a guitar that belonged to my sister, who had been, had been sitting in a cupboard for years. She'd never really played it, and maybe when I was about, I'm guessing now, maybe 12 or 13, I just picked up this guitar and tried to replicate the tunes I was listening to at the time. So, and then from there, um, I moved on to the drums, and yeah.
Yeah. But can you play the bagpipes? The Scottish bagpipe?
No, no, I can't. I can't. No, you know what? I really regret not sort of learning anything traditional like the violin or the fiddle, should I say, or the pipes or the box, because I enjoy that music and I
Yeah.
enjoy getting involved in like sessions with like a kind of traditional session going on. I'm lucky enough to kind of be able to tap away in something being a drummer, but I would have liked to have learned something like that, but no, I wouldn't.
No.
I
Well,
wouldn't.
before we continue, I just want to say that Aiden said that great sound and picture. Aiden is my tech support, so when he says it's great sound and picture, then
Well, that's good.
so
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So so you tried to sort like you picked up the guitar, but then you moved on to the drums. So what got you into drumming? And were you more comfortable with it than the guitar?
Well, the way I remember it is like, so when we went into third year in high school, so when I was in the first 2 years of my, well, it was called the top school in Mali because it wasn't actually, it only went up to fourth year. And if you wanted to do higher or further that, you would need to go to the school in Fort William. But I was fortunate that in Malik there was a new school built just as I was moving into third year, which meant I could continue my schooling in Malik. And so with the new school, they got all these shiny new, instruments. And I remember like my first music lesson in the new school, there was this shiny white Premier drum kit sitting in the corner, and I was like, I want a shot of that. That's like, and it was just this beautiful thing sitting in the corner. And we didn't get to play the drums straight away in music, so maybe after maybe a few months, we got introduced to the drums, and we were all given a shot at the drums, and maybe out of all of the class, there was maybe about, I don't know, maybe three, possibly four people that could actually keep the beat, and I was one of those, and I just went on from there really, and we started a band round about then, and we were allowed access to the music room at lunchtime, so we would go in at lunchtime and we would learn songs and play songs. So I would be on the drums because I was at the time beginning maybe slightly better than my friends at the
Yeah.
drums.
Yeah.
So one went in the guitar, one went in the bass, one went in keys, one wanted to sing. But there was no fights over what we would do. It just
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
natural, and then
yeah.
pretty much every lunchtime we would go in and we'd learn songs. And then when we felt we were almost good enough, which was a matter of opinion, I guess, we played at the school discos and stuff like that. So
So are
um,
these like rock songs or traditional
no,
Scottish
they were kind of
or
rock pop songs.
pop? Yeah, pop songs.
I
Yeah.
can't remember the first ones we did. So we did three songs in a medley. No, I'm really starting to struggle. It's a long time ago now. So it was kind of obvious ones like Johnny Be Good, Wild
Oh,
Wild Thing, and Dire Straits, The Walk of Life. So that
oh, really?
that was
Oh,
the
oh,
first three songs that we learned. Uh,
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good then. But so you had like a proper drumming lessons from your
no,
school.
no, 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 no drumming lessons at all.
Oh,
Um,
right. So you just sort of like played by ear and sort of like
yeah,
self.
so I mean, my music teacher was a piano teacher, and she didn't really play anything like that. So it was basically off a book. It was like, right, there you go. Can you play a 4/4 beat? And it was like, right, so played the 4/4 beat. and then just progress from there. As I say, every lunchtime I would go in and,
back.
and obviously in music, I would get the chance to play drums now and again. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did that, like for my standard grades and hires and stuff like that. So, but no, it was all self-taught, really.
So what happened to that band, to your first band?
Well, it's funny you should say that because, so the singer in the band, we were like the best of pals growing up, and we're still the best of pals now. He lives in Ireland now, so we're very close. So, and a bit of a sad story, really. Another one of my best pals, who he was a bass player, and we both moved down to Glasgow together, and we started a band down here as well. And he unfortunately passed away when he was 27.
Oh,
27, I think it was 27.
I'm sorry to hear
Unfortunately, he had cancer, so it was.
Oh, God, yeah.
So it was his anniversary recently, and I had footage on a VHS cassette of our maybe second gig. So because it was coming up to his anniversary, that gave me the motivation to digitize that, and I put it on YouTube and sent the link up to his family just so they could.
Oh,
They could
that's
yeah,
really, yeah. It's
yeah.
really nice.
And I've
Oh,
got
God.
his mum and dad gave me his bass, so I've still got it's just here actually, and it's a beauty. Oh, so that's it
Oh,
there.
wow.
It's kind of really nice because it's actually got an access. He stuck that on the back of the bass, so that's an access all area sticker from the last gig that we ever played together, and that was just maybe 6 months before he died. So it kind of means a lot to me. This piece. So.
Yeah, yeah. So that's already when you moved to Glasgow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no, not really. It was a few years after I moved to Glasgow. So we moved to Glasgow. We both went to the same university, and it was,
yeah.
we kind of shared a flat and stuff like that. And so it was probably about 9 years after we moved to Glasgow. So, and in that time, we played in various bands, and he got me into a lot of good music. It was him that actually first introduced me to Teenage Fan Club, for example. Like, he loved Teenage Fan Club, and it was I
Wow.
wouldn't necessarily be listening to them if it wasn't for him. I might not
Yeah.
necessarily be playing with Jerry Love if it wasn't for
I
him. So
know.
get me into
But
that sort of music.
well, before I ask you about J Love, so what was the name of that band that you were in with them?
Well, so the school band had an absolutely awful name. They were called Something to Get Your Teeth Into. Don't ask me why. But, it was either going to be that or the Electric Potatoes, and I think we maybe should have went with the Electric Potatoes myself. And then, when I moved down to Glasgow, I kind of stopped playing the drums after that because I didn't really have the opportunity, and that's when I started playing the guitar more. And I played guitar. Well, I created a band myself actually, and played guitar and was lead vocalist, which was strange for me anyway. And in the meantime, the guys that I'd played with in school, like Derek and Charles, and my wee brother actually played. He took over the drums. They had started this band called Starsky, and then they moved down to Glasgow. But their guitarist stayed in Malig, so they needed a guitarist. So then I joined that band
Oh,
as
I
a guitarist.
see.
So
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then I had the band that I had been in, I was singing in, I'd written songs for. I'd met this guy called Roddy Hart, and he had joined my band. So I took Roddy with me onto Starsky. So me and Roddy both played guitar and vocals on the Starsky band.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we did that for a few years, and then things kind of like fizzled out a wee bit. And then Roddy, he had written a lot of songs himself, and then he'd been kind of sent these demos away, and I'd got like this kind of almost kind of this record deal. It wasn't quite there yet, so the record company wanted Roddy to get a band together and do his songs. So Roddy asked me and Derek and my brother Seamus to be his backing band. So we did that, and it was all very exciting at the time because we're actually doing this, and we all quit our jobs and things like that, and we were doing that for a couple of maybe 6 months or so, and that's when Derek got ill, unfortunately, and not long after he passed away. So then that was me. I was kind of like, right, I think I'm going to have to take a break from playing music. It was quite traumatic at the time, and then maybe a couple of years down the line. Colin from Attic Lights, his brother, I was friends with his brother Liam, and we were out one night and Liam had said like, "Oh no, you used to play the drums, didn't you? My brother's looking for a drummer. Do you fancy helping them out?" And I was like, "Well, it's been a long time. At this point, I hadn't played drums for almost 10 years, maybe. Certainly not in a band. I hadn't played in a band, drums in a band for over 10 years, maybe."
Yeah.
So, well, I'll give it a go. I wasn't very confident though because I hadn't played in so long, and so I met the guys, and straight away I got on really well with them, and I guess it's like riding a bike. I kind of found out that I could still play the drums.
Yeah.
And their style and my style of drumming really kind of gelled really well together. Not only that, really good guys, and straight away I could tell we were all going to go on really well. So that's how I started playing the drums again. So I guess it was from then on, and I guess what age would I have been then? Maybe 29, 28, 29 or something like that. So I didn't really start playing the drums properly, I guess, until I was that age.
And so where did Attic Lights, the name Attic Lights, where did that come from?
No, it was where we rehearsed actually. Colin still lived with his mother at the time, and that was in a sort of flat. It's like a 4 in a block or a cottage flat, they call them, in Springburn, and they had a converted attic, a bit like this one, but much smaller. And that's where we used to rehearse and record. And they already had the name Attic Lights just because it was like that was the kind of their environment, they were up in the attic, and it was that. So it was excuse me, they'd already called themselves that. And then when I joined the band, they were kind of like there was only 3 of them, and they didn't have a drummer, so they didn't really kind of. I don't know if they even seen themselves as a proper band because they didn't have the
like a full sound,
the right amount of people to play the songs live. I mean, recording wise, anytime they recorded, Colin would play the drums because he can play the drums, but they could never do that live. So once I got on board, it's like, well, maybe we need to change the name of the band. So so we're kind of sitting there, banging our heads off the wall, just like, oh, what about this and what about that and what about this, and I don't know which one of us decided. Like, I certainly remember thinking, like, look, Attic Lights is a perfectly fine name. I don't really see changing that. So we stuck with it.
Well, I must admit that I've actually not heard of Attic Lights. I met you before. I saw you sort of like performing with Jerry Love, but I've not heard of Attic Lights. Someone actually said to me, Noel is actually a drummer. He's not a guitarist. He's a drummer in this band called Attic Lights. So it was like, oh, wow. Really? So I did sort of like Google it and looked it up. And it says that you're, according to Wikipedia, it says that the band's genre is like power pop. Is that like accurate?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I would say we started off more kind of, I would say more kind of country-ish, if you like. I mean, a lot of people, like including Jerry, actually, would always kind of compare us to like bands like the Beachweed Sparks, for example, you know, so which was more kind of so it was more kind of country orientated, but the tunes were very melodic and I guess very poppy, you know. So
Yeah, yeah,
so the more we progressed, we kind of moved more into the kind of I guess power pop
yeah,
rock
yeah.
or whatever. But
Yep, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I guess that's where the kind of phrase comes from, like you know.
Well, I gotta ask you this: have you seen Wendy yet?
Oh, that's over. That's
And
over.
that's over. Do you know that's a fantastic song? Because I looked it up and I looked on YouTube for that video. I actually saw like because when I saw you, you look so serious and you look like you don't smile a lot. But that video is so
Oh,
goofy, and I
yeah,
almost didn't recognize you there. I was like, which one is Noel?
yes, yeah. I we did do some videos that were a bit of a brass neck, in my opinion, but you know, I guess they were fun. Let's just call it fun, you know.
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine who's also a drummer, Mark Liptrot, he did say that when it was released, that was played in his house like loads of times.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's he really likes that song Wendy, and that's actually the one that I saw on YouTube when I searched for Attic Lights. That was sort of like the
right.
first video that I saw. So yeah, I'm sorry that I missed
Yeah, well,
that.
it was quite
You know,
popular.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
it's brilliant. It's a
it's my
brilliant
son.
song.
It's my son's favorite song as well, actually.
Yeah. Well, Uh, also, because I've been Googling Attic Lights and I saw on Wikipedia that you toured with Paul Heaton and Keris Matthews. Is it like two separate tours or is it them doing it together or?
So we did a tour with Paul. Now Paul, he's a lovely guy. I have to admit, I don't think I would. I don't. I didn't really listen to an awful lot of Paul's music. But he really sort of championed the band. He offered to take us on tour with him because he really liked the band. And yeah, Paul's really nice guy. And
Yeah, yeah.
so we did a tour with him. Um, and then he did a co-headline tour maybe 6 months to a year afterwards with Keris. So he invited us back on tour with them. So
Oh,
it was
okay.
like Keris would do a set, and then Paul would do a set. So Paul had a full band, and then Keris was just herself and a guitarist. And
All right.
there was this thing where I got on really well. Keris, she was dead nice, really lovely person. And
Yeah.
when she was sound checking one time, I was just setting up my drums at the same time in the background, and then just I think subconsciously I was just kind of tapping my tambourine along to the songs she was singing, you know. And she was like, "That really works. Do you mind if you?" Because this is the song she was sound checking at the time was her kind of finishing song that would end the set, you know. And so it ended up that she asked me to come on stage with her every night and just play tambourine with her in this song, you know. So it was a kind of it started off just a kind of like just a wee joke, but then every night it was like, right, we're going to get Noel on stage, and I would play the tambourine, and because I wasn't sitting behind the drums, I was standing out front and playing the tambourine. She's dancing.
Yeah.
I was so self-conscious, but it was just. And then that kind of progressed on to it was either the last night of the tour, I think it was the last night of the tour. Paul's band came on, and we all did a full band version of this particular song that she did. So it was
Oh,
really nice. So it was a really, really nice kind of, I don't know, it felt like kind of family tour. Everyone got on really well, and everyone
yeah.
helped each other out, and it was a really nice vibe.
Do you still see them occasionally?
No, I've
Maybe.
not. No, no. Which is a shame, Keris just gave me her number and said, "Oh, keep in touch and that." But I mean, we're up in Scotland, and
Yeah.
she was just starting. She was actually getting quite nervous about starting this radio show on BBC Six. I was like, "Oh, I've never done any radio stuff before," and here she is
Yeah.
on Sunday morning now. She's on the radio, So it's yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
And she does an annual festival as well in Wales. I think is it the Big Life or something? No, the Good
Oh,
Life,
really? Aye.
the Good Life camp festival. So they have like music from there, and like and it's like a
Oh, good.
family thing. So, yeah. So I think that's curious. But anyways, going back to Attic Lights, this
Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, I love this song. I could be so
Uh-huh.
good for you, but there's Waterman. And then I found out that you actually did a cover of it. And it was really
Yeah,
cool. So that was so like, so they did a new version of Minder,
that's right.
and you're the one who provided the music or the theme song for it.
Remember
Is
that
that right?
conversation we had before about things that I didn't want to speak about?
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's that. No, yeah. So yes, we did. We did. We were asked to do, and it was a bit of a shame actually because oh god, it was like we were about to release our third or fourth single, which is one of my favorite songs on our debut records, and it was called "Late Night Sunshine," and it's a really good song. And we're all getting set up to release this as a single, and then just before that, the record company got in touch with us and said that look, we've been approached by um, whoever it is making the new Minder.
yeah.
They want you to do a cover of "I Could Be So Good for
I
You,"
could be so good for you,
so that
yeah.
it can be the theme tune to this new Minder starring Shane Ritchie. And I was like, oh my god! Like, so it was, I mean, it's a great tune, So we
Yeah,
didn't mind, re-recording it, but yeah, it doesn't make it any less embarrassing.
yeah. Well, talking about power pop, I mean that is a very good example of power pop, isn't
Yeah, aye.
it?
And we went down to London and we met Shane Ritchie. Well, we did a video with Shane Ritchie, and oh, do you know, I feel terrible. I forget the name of the guy who's the actual Minder. He was a dead
Oh,
nice guy. So we did a video
yeah,
with those two guys in this London pub somewhere. And, they were really nice. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think many people have probably got their own opinions on Shane Ritchie or whatever, but
well, yeah,
from my experience, he was a nice man. And,
yeah. Well, I know him on EastEnders because that's the I used to sort of like watch EastEnders. That he
yeah, so I
was
think it was
on
maybe
like
just
that.
before he was in EastEnders. So,
Yeah.
you know, good on him. Good on him.
Yeah. Well, another interesting thing that I found out from your Wikipedia entry is you did a version of Strawberry Switchblades since
That's right.
yesterday,
Yeah.
and I actually tried to look for that video, but I couldn't find it. I think it's already been deleted because it says that it's for a campaign for like jobs, like Scotland
Well,
jobs.
it was for, yeah, I think it was S1 Jobs. I think it was in conjunction with STV.
STV
Yeah,
jobs.
and it was for like an advert for S1 Jobs. I
Yeah.
think. I think that's what it was.
Well,
I
I
mean, that's a,
found
that's a slightly cooler song to do a cover of. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed doing that as well. Actually, yeah,
well,
and
I
I
found
think,
the
I think you kind of
article.
did it justice.
Yeah, I found the article for that campaign, and I thought it says that if you want to hear it or see the video, click on the link, and I did, and it just sort of like gave me this different sort of like kind of. So I couldn't find it. I thought maybe YouTube would have that video of you singing since yesterday, but there's nothing. So I thought,
I
oh,
don't
it's
know.
okay.
I don't even know where you could get it. To be honest, like
Yeah.
and in fact, before you even said it, there, I'd forgotten we'd done it.
Because Strawberry Switchblade, I mean, they're massive in the Philippines in the 80s. When I was still living in the Philippines, we love Strawberry Switchblade. It's part of the sort of like new wave, the new wave scene in the Philippines. So when I saw
Okay,
that, I
yeah.
thought, oh, that sounds interesting to see your version of Since Yesterday, but I couldn't find it, which is a shame. But it's like, so what's happening with Attic Lights now? Because I think I remember you mentioning before that you do a lot of European gigs, but not much UK gigs?
Yeah, well, kind of Spain in particular. So we've never officially disbanded. We're just very lazy in terms of being a functioning band, I guess. Not a function band, a functioning band. Um, so we're still in the process of writing songs. We get together maybe once a year and go away for the weekend and have a little writing session. And so we did that in October last year. And that was almost a year ago now.
Yeah,
It's over the year before that. It's a very slow process. And then we recently got invited back to Spain to do a couple of gigs in Mallorca. And that was probably the first gig we'd done in about 5 years. So yeah, we probably could and should do more than we do, but I mean, Colin lives in the Isle of Arran now, and myself, Jamie, and Colin, we've all got families, and Kev recently got married, and he's living out near Fintry, which is kind of north of Glasgow. So none of us really live close to each other. So it takes an effort for all of us to get together.
yeah, yeah.
And we are actually getting together next Sunday, but not for music, just to go out for a curry and celebrate Colin and Jamie's birthday. So, but regardless of that, it'll be nice to meet the guys and catch up. And actually, Tim, who has not been in the band for a few years, he's going to come and join us as well. So it's like a proper band reunion,
Yeah.
So
well, hopefully
I can tell him that I spoke to you today, and you reminded me of Minder and Strawberry Switchblade. Minder I was trying to forget. Strawberry Switchblade I had forgotten. But yeah, it's kind of nice memories all the same.
Well, hopefully you'll take a photo of the like the band and then post it on your social media page.
Yeah, maybe we should do that actually. Yeah,
it'll be good. Yeah,
it'll certainly be the first time that all five of us have been together in many years.
Yeah. Is Francis McDonald still your manager, or has he ever been your manager?
No, not. Yeah, he was our manager back when we were, back in the day when we were kind of released our first couple of albums. He was our manager, and also he kind of helped with some of the production as well. But no, not since then, really. I mean, he's still a good guy to kind of. He'll give us advice if we need it, But we're all a wee bit old and long in the tooth now. And in fact, I seen Francis last week. It was really nice to see him. Him and his family were in, because Teenage Fan Club were playing at Mono. They were launching their new album at Mono last week. So I seen Francis and the guys last week. So it was nice to catch up. It was nice.
That's good, because I also found out from Discogs that he's the one who produced Wendy.
Yep.
So that's brilliant. And I mean, Francis McDonald, he can do anything. It's like he's an artist, He's not like had an exhibition.
I know. Before. Yeah, and I think you convinced him to do that exhibition, because when you first asked me to do this podcast, I did a wee bit of research and I watched the one you did with Francis, which was really good. And it was. Obviously he's posting his portraits on Instagram and probably Facebook a lot. And I remember you asking him, "Or do you ever, would you ever consider doing an exhibition?" Which he was very shy about and very kind of non-committal at the time. And I took it upon myself after I watched that, because we've got a gallery space in Mono. And so I got in touch with him saying, "Listen, Francis, I just watched your podcast with Anne and I thought it was really good. And, I think that maybe you should do an exhibition, and that's absolutely no pressure on yourself. But if you did ever want to do something like that, I could give you the space in Mono, So, and he got back to me and thanked me for that. And then a month or two down the line, he'd go back in touch again and said, "Look, listen, I'm actually going to do one in was it Dunfermline?
Dunfermline, yeah, that was amazing.
They've been in touch and they'd offered them that, and I
Yeah,
think I'm not sure whether I think you maybe planted the seed there, like so. It certainly motivated me to get in touch with them and go, look, listen, you know, if you want, you can use Mono as a gallery space, and I think he probably will at some point. But because
that would be great.
he'd been offered by this place in Dunfermline, so I thought I'll do this first, test the water, and I think it went very well. I think he sold. What did he say? He sold about 25.
He's sold a lot.
Out of
Yeah.
31 portraits. So I don't think that's why he was putting them up, but that's it's a good result.
Well, I got one. I got Andy
Oh,
Rourke. Yeah, because I thought it would be, it's only right for Andy Rourke to come to Manchester, because instead of him staying in Glasgow or Dunfermline.
Does it look like Andy Rourke?
I know. Oh my God, sorry. Yeah, it does. It's actually a really, really beautiful drawing of Andy Rourke. But so Francis McDonald, Teenage Fan Club, and Jerry Love. So are you a big fan of Teenage Fan Club?
Oh, who's not? How can you not be? Like total classic Glasgow band. Brilliant. I mean, just I absolutely adore their. There's a specific point in time where you had. I think all their albums are great, but specifically, obviously Bandwagon-esque is the big kind of hitter, and then Grand Prix and Songs of Northern Britain.
Songs of Northern Britain, yeah.
But also like 13, which is scarily 30 years old this year. In fact, we're having a night in Mono next week where there's a guy celebrating
13,
13, because it was released this time of year 30 years ago. And it makes me feel so old, because I remember when I moved down to Glasgow, there's a record shop called Fop in Byers Road. And I remember that being in the window of Fop, and it had the kind of, the ball in the water sort of thing. And and it's like, oh my God, I've been in Glasgow for 30 years. Makes me feel a wee bit old.
Yeah. Well, have you got a copy of the new one? Because I've been telling people how amazing that.
It's great. I really like it. Absolutely, yeah. I think it's really good. I think it's it's like some of the best stuff they've done in a few years. I was actually having a discussion with the guys in the band earlier about this. I think like the last track in the album, which is called
I Will Love You.
That's it.
I Will Love You by.
I think that's one of the best songs that Raymond's ever written. You know that?
I know.
I think it's great. Really good.
Yeah. Well, I went to their album signing in Manchester and in Leeds, because in Leeds they did a short set as well. And from then I just thought, I said to myself that this is my 2023 album of the year. I just love that album so much. I can't get enough of it. I've been telling everyone. So no, you've got to get a copy of it. You've got to get a copy of it. But
the songs came across really well live as well. It was really good. Yeah.
Well, Jerry Love, like when I saw you playing, because I didn't really know. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, because I've only discovered Teenage Fan Club and Jerry Love last year. Well, the music.
Wow. Really?
And it's only because of Paul Quinn, because Paul Quinn was on the show. And I know Paul Quinn as the drummer of the Sioux Dragons. But then, of course, you do. Yeah, because you do.
You didn't realize Paul played in Teenage Fan Club?
No, because I'm a big fan of the Soup Dragons. So I know him. I wanted him to be on the show because of the Soup Dragons. But then, of course, you do research and things. They say, oh, he's in Teenage Fan Club and he's got the Primary Five and all that. And then, so I started doing this Teenage Fan Club things. I've heard it before. I have heard the name before and maybe heard a couple of songs, but not really got into it until I had Paul Quinn on the show. But anyway, so last year, I met Jerry Love at the Makehead gig. St. Louis. He was there, and he was so nice and everything. So, and then he did the gig. You and him did the gig in Straven.
That's right, yeah.
For 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first I want to ask you is, are you a fan of Makehead?
Do you know what? I had that Shack album,
HMS Fable, yeah.
HMS
Yeah.
Fable, back when it was out, and that's really the only Mick Head stuff I'd ever listened to. And I loved it. I loved that album. You know, Comedy is like, what a song, and it was a
Yeah.
great album. But you know, it's just one of those albums that like, oh, that was really good. But then didn't join the dots, you know. And then only the next time I listened to him was that night that was me and Jerry were playing with him, and it was what a great atmosphere. It was like being at a football game because there was a busload of people up from Liverpool, and they
Yeah.
were just getting right into it, and you know, and I was like, this is amazing. These songs are great, you know. And then you know, of course, the next night again, you know, and it's just like, wow, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So, the Pale Fountains, have you know of
Yeah, I
that?
mean, I've heard of them. I've not listened to them a lot, but you know, I retrospectively I went back and listened to some Pale Fountains and you know the Red Elastic
Yeah.
Band, more recent stuff and all that. And yeah, I mean, I just think that HMS Fable is what a
Yeah,
great.
that's
I mean,
amazing album.
really, so I've revisited that. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this album. You know, one of those because that was released maybe what 20 years ago or something like that. And I remember
Yeah.
buying it CD. Um, and yeah, like, all right, that's who Mick Head is, right? Okay.
Well, am I right in thinking that that gig in Straven was actually the first solo Jerry Love gig that he did after?
Well, not really. He played with a band called the Beavis Frond in
Oh,
Stereo,
right.
Glasgow. Maybe about a month or two before that,
Okay. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
which I was at. And I mean, I hadn't seen Jerry for a wee while, just with you know the COVID thing and all that, like you know, because before COVID, we were kind of sort of pre-production and writing. No, I wasn't writing. I was he'd written these songs, and I was kind of putting drums to them, you know, because we were getting ready to go into the studio and record an album. Um,
Yeah.
so I hadn't really seen him since before all that time. Um, so I went along and he played this set just himself with the supporting the Beavis Frond, and I was chatting to him afterwards, you know, and you know, it was kind of like, listen, if you want me to help you out in any way, like you know, I can strum a chord and you know, do some backing vocals just to kind of, you know, beef it out
Yeah.
a little bit, like you know. And I don't think Jerry realised I played guitar. So it was almost like the reverse from when I was joining Attic Lights. I hadn't played the guitar in such a long time, and then Jerry had asked me then, yeah, okay, let's do that. I've got this gig coming up in Straven. Do you mind sort of it's just
Yeah.
going to be acoustic, doing a bit of guitar and vocals, and of course I'd love to. And it gave me the opportunity to play all these Teenage Fan Club
Yeah.
songs I've
Yeah.
loved for forever. Do you know what I mean? So it was an absolute pleasure. You know, I mean, I've worked with Jerry in the kind of lightships capacity for probably the last 10 years or so or more, but then that's very sporadic over the last 10 years. It's not as if we've been too busy with that, but I've played the odd
Yeah.
gig when he's been doing the lightship stuff.
But
So
was it easy? Was it easy for you to sort like do all these Teenage Fan Club songs and light ships, or were you nervous so like doing the guitar parts of it? Or
well, do you know, for the first time, I was quite nervous. I don't necessarily get nervous when I play gigs, but that's because I'm usually playing the drums and I'm quite confident about what I'm doing on the drums. But and I'm also up the back of the stage, hiding behind the drum kit, so you're not really seeing me. So, which that's my, I'm fine with that. You know, I'm comfortable with that. But so two things, I was very exposed playing the guitar, which I hadn't done. I hadn't played guitar live in I don't know how long, a long, long time. And not only that, I was playing all these songs that I really loved, and I really didn't want to make a mess of it. And they could see me and hear me, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" But I mean, you know, after the first song, I can't remember. I think it was it Star Sign? First song we played. I think it was Star Sign.
yeah, yeah,
So we walked on stage, and you know, I mean, this was the first time anyone had heard these songs since Jerry had left Teenage Fan Club 2 or 3 years before that. So
yeah, yeah,
you know, so a bit kind of slightly nervous going on stage, and then I'm sure it was Star Sign, the first song we played, and then I've never had such a reaction to playing live. This roar coming from these, I think there was about 300 people in the room that night, and it was just whoa, the cobwebs away. So I guess I don't know whether that put even more pressure on or not, but I think I felt a wee bit more relaxed after that, and it was a really, really nice atmosphere, really nice gig. Uh,
Yeah.
and then
So were you more relaxed the second night because you already
yeah,
saw?
most
Yeah.
definitely, I most and then and then we played a few gigs after that, and it was
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I should know it because I got the set list. I should revisit those set lists because when I saw you, well, I saw Jerry Love for the first time. I mean, I saw him at Glasgow's Pop before that, and he was just sort of like helping out playing bass
oh, that's
and
right, yeah,
for
that's right.
Comet Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the first time that I actually saw him perform, sing his songs and sing the teenage. I couldn't even tell, so like which ones are the Teenage Fan Club or Light Ships. I can now. I mean, I do know them now, but yeah, I just thought his voice is
Oh, it's
absolutely
great,
amazing. It's just
brilliant. I mean,
yeah,
it's like what an amazing songwriter. He's just it's like it's an
yeah,
absolute pleasure to get a chance to work with him because I love his songwriting. I always have done. So
yeah,
um, and it's a challenge as well. It's like kind of Jerry knows what he wants. So he kind of scrutinizes what I do in the drums, and I like that. I kind of rise to the challenge. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of right, okay. So it's not a
yeah,
case of just like, well, we'll just go and play drums to that. It's like, no, I want you to play the drums like this. So it's kind of very direct, and it's like, yeah, I like that.
yeah.
He's a
Well,
good guy.
Yarnfest in Birkenhead. That's when I saw you play drums,
That's
and
right.
you
Yeah, we did a
mainly
light
played.
ship set.
I
Yeah,
think you mainly played light ship songs
we
and
did. It
not.
was a light ship set we did there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely amazing because I was all like thinking I finally got to see you play the drums, and then so like a month later, I was hoping that you're gonna do play the drums again in Birmingham, but you didn't. You had
Oh, that's right. I we did. We did that one, and but that's a lovely venue actually.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It's all like the only thing about it is you feel like I felt I wanted to be at the front near the stage, but you
it was
couldn't
yeah,
because
it was a
it's so
strange atmosphere actually. Yeah, everyone was just sitting round at the back. And it's kind of yeah.
it's too far away and it couldn't really see, but it would be a bit so like awkward standing there on your own. You're so like be in
Well,
front of the
I kind of expected folk to kind of move forward when the bands were on, but I think they were. I mean, it's such a massive. It's kind of like I don't know. It reminded me of Pink Floyd and Pompeii type thing. Kind of in the round sort of. It felt like a kind of old. You know, I don't know what you'd
yeah.
call it, but it was beautiful. It was really nice.
Yeah, that was a brilliant gig or something. But I think that was the last one you did.
I think so.
And
Yeah, I think
yeah,
you're right.
that was the
Yeah,
last one.
yeah.
Am I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you this because I have seen on social media before, and it has been posted that Jerry Love is doing a solo album, recording a solo album with Bill Ryder Jones at his Yawn studio. I have seen that, and there have been photographs that you're part of it. Am I allowed to ask what's the latest, or when can we expect to so like see it?
Well, you know, you can ask it, but I can't answer you because I don't know, basically. But I think he's hoping to get it. You know, it's almost there. It's almost there. But I mean, what I can say is the songs are fantastic. It's going to be a really, really good album. I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
Is it going to be an album? Is it going to be an EP? Is it going to be a group of EPs? Who knows? I guess we'll just need to wait and see.
Wait. Yeah,
Because
wait and
I
see.
guess I'll wait and see as well. Because as I say, I'm not privy to that information. So
Yeah, yeah. And is
um,
this another Light Ships album or
again,
Reeve or Jerry
again,
Love?
that is another question that I don't know the answer to. So it may be Light Ships. It may be Jerry Love. Who can tell?
Who knows? But
So
it's so
again,
exciting, and
I'm not even trying to be secretive about that. I just genuinely don't know. So Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure the fans are all waiting for another photograph or another sort of like update about what's going on now with the recording.
Well, I
But
think, I mean, you'll definitely not be disappointed. I think whatever he releases and whatever kind of guys it's in, they're really, really good tunes, really, really strong, really.
yeah,
It's an absolute pleasure recording it with him. So yeah, it's going to be really good.
yeah. Well, okay. So you played with Jerry Love, and you're sort of like managed by Francis before, but I also found out that you played drums. Tracy Ann, what's it called now?
Yeah, Tracy Ann and Danny. Yeah,
Yeah, Tracy Ann and Danny. Sorry,
right.
I
Have you heard that album?
no,
Oh,
no.
have a listen to it. It's absolutely brilliant, and I can say that because I didn't play drums in it, so I'm not being boastful. Yeah, I did the live stuff with them, but I would really recommend that album. It's great, really good.
Yeah,
Um, and no, Tracy Ann's been a good friend of mine for many years, and yeah, it was an absolute pleasure playing drums for her and Danny, and yeah, we kind of toured the East Coast of America up to Canada. We did Europe and stuff like that
right.
back in 2018-19 sort of time. And yeah, again, this is what I'm saying. I feel very fortunate because over the last few years, I've got to work with songwriters that I really respect and
Yeah,
love their music. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really kind of fortunate in terms of doing stuff for Jerry and also doing stuff for Tracy Ann. So yeah,
yeah,
it's really
yeah.
good.
And
And,
Tracy Ann, of
and
course.
then last year she invited me to do percussion with Camera Obscura.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
one of the rare Camera Obscura reunion gigs. Well, I mean they've actually got a new album in the can, so that'll be coming out at some point.
Um,
But yeah, we did this festival in Scotland last year, and I did percussion for that, which again absolutely love Camera Obscura. So it was great. It was a great opportunity to play these tunes that I've loved for years as well. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and we did with Tracy Ann and Danny as well. We were asked to do the Boaty Weekender that Stuart from Bell and Sebastian
Well,
put
yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
cruise. And that one of the reasons that um, uh, Canon Obscura got back together was Stuart had asked Tracy Ann if we would do some Canon Obscura songs. So
Right.
that kind of was a catalyst for Tracy Ann to get Canon Obscura back together because they hadn't played since Katie had passed away. So it was quite an
Yeah,
emotional thing
yeah,
to do. Again, excuse
yeah.
me, I've got someone at the door here.
Is that your cat?
I know it's have to open it. What is it? Go on in there. What a noise! Right. You know, it's so nosy. She's called Rosie. Nosy Rosie.
Nosy Rosie.
Aye, yeah, nosy. I thought it'd get peace and quiet, but that never happens in this house, does it? Yeah, okay. Right, off we go.
So, um, uh, again, Camera Obscura is managed by Francis McDonald, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Aren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, aren't they? Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And is he still managing them, or is
Yes, yes, he is. Aye,
he
yeah,
is?
yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant. Um, right. I've asked you before that, or you know, you're not on social media, which
Well, I mean, I'm not on. Yeah, I'm not on Facebook. But, I do have an Instagram account which I will put a photo on every 6 months to a year or something like that. I don't generally get involved in social media. I don't necessarily like it. I don't quite understand it, and
yeah,
you know,
I think it's a useful tool for
there's
musicians.
no doubt about it. Absolutely, I'm just
Yeah,
maybe a wee bit old fashioned in that regard, and I think I don't know. There's too many negative aspects to social media that rather stay away from.
yeah, I suppose so. But
But
because when I
I
saw,
do get the whole promotional thing, and I don't know. I found a few bands, and new music through that, but and
Yeah,
gigs, like information about gigs I want to go to. But in terms of engaging personally with it, I just no, I can't be bothered with it.
well, when I saw you a few weeks ago, you mentioned about drumming for Constant Follower.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's so like something that, because I didn't know about that. I mean, I have heard of Constant Follower because of the Orchids. I think they
Oh yeah.
like doing Constant Follower and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so do you want to sort of like invite people? Because you're playing on Tuesday, isn't it?
Tuesday, yeah.
At
So
the
we've
Glad
got a
Cafe?
couple of gigs this week. We've got one in the Glad Cafe in Glasgow, which is just down the road from where I'm living, so that's quite handy.
Yeah.
And then on the Wednesday night, we've got it's a kind of hometown Stirling, the toll booth in Stirling. So I think there's still tickets available for both. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, what a great band, what such a talented songwriter. And I actually met them. I was out my sister stays in Austin, Texas, so I was out there during South by Southwest earlier this year, and yeah, I met them there, and that's the first time I'd actually heard their music actually, and I thought they were great, and they've not necessarily got drums on the stuff they've released so far, but their next album has drums in it. So not and again, I didn't play on the recording, so they needed someone to play the new songs live. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they asked me along to do that. So yeah, so again, very fortunate to get involved in another
But
really
yeah.
talented group of folk. So
I mean,
yeah, I love it.
I wish that Glasgow is only like an hour away because I don't know if do you know Mark Tranmer? Mark Tranmer from Ganac.
I'm not
He
sure.
actually, I think I think he said that he's sort of done some, or maybe he was in the studio when Constant Follower were doing their albums or something like that. But anyway, so he's actually said that he's got a spare ticket if I wanted to go, but it's just that Glasgow is not always
It's
easy
not
to.
as
I mean,
handy, is it?
it's easy to get to, but not always easy.
Oh, that's a
Especially,
shame.
yeah, but and it's a shame because I know that Mark's gonna be there and members of the Orchids are gonna be there as well. So it would be nice to sort of like go and see you play drums for Constant Follower. But hopefully someday, I will get to see
Yeah,
you. So, like, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
No, I mean, they're definitely worth going to see. It's absolutely lovely tunes. I've only done one gig with them. It was we did the Edinburgh Festival through in the summer. It was what was it? Summer Hall, I think the venue's called. And yeah, great, really, really nice tunes. So
yeah, yeah.
so
And so that's your next gigs, and no Attic Lights gig at the moment. So
just a curry.
just a go on Sunday. Which reminds me, on Sunday I'm actually going to be in Glasgow because Jerry Love is DJing at McCull's.
Oh, is he?
So
Oh,
yeah.
really?
So if you're thinking of so like after your curry, if you want to so
Ah,
like listen to
we're
Jerry
at the,
Love
we're at the
playlist.
opposite end of the city, but I can see if I can. I'll be coming back that way. I don't know about the other guys, but I'll maybe pop my head in the door and say hello on my way home in that case.
Yeah, well, that's something that I'm actually. I know I said that I wish Glasgow was only an hour away, but but this I've already planned this. I went to his DJing thing April last this year in April, and it's just absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
he's
great
singing
tunes,
or
yeah.
anything. So hopefully, if you get a chance, I'll be at McKill's and then I'll see, I'll see you there, and then we'll listen to Jerry Love or something.
Yeah, no,
Or no,
he's got a
yeah,
lot of he's got good taste, and that was a good thing about when we were recording the album. Is at night we would go home and just Jerry would put his tunes on, and then Bob Kildare from Bell and Sebastian.
oh, yeah,
He's the same. He's got his great tunes, and would be doing. And then Dave would be putting stuff on, and then I'd be too embarrassed to put anything on because the bar was set so high with the tune they were putting on. I was like, well, I'll just leave it to you, and I'll enjoy what you're doing, you know. And then found loads of new music for myself. It's great.
Yeah. So when you're not drumming though, so your main sort of like say job or anything, but the main thing that you do is you manage Mono Cafe.
Yeah, I do. Yes, I run Mono. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and are you there so like most days, or is it
I'm afraid
just
so. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in there all the time. No, it's I mean, it's a great. It's really. I would say it's a very important sort of cultural part of Glasgow. It's got a great history. I mean, the guy that owns it also owns Stereo, and it was him that originally opened the 13th Note. So a guy called Craig Tannock. So he's kind of indirectly involved in an awful lot of music that's come out of Glasgow since the early 90s, you know.
all right, okay.
So there's a lot of bands have come through and worked for him over the years, you know. Just like pretty much every Glasgow band you've heard of has got some connection to that, you know.
Yeah. So now, I mean, it's like if you go to that place, you don't just look for Mr. Pastel; they have to look for you as well. So,
Well,
no, don't worry,
you don't need to look very far.
please. Well, I've only got this for like regular questions that I ask because I know it's already 3 o'clock. So do you twirl when you're playing the drums? Do you do this kind of?
Let's see. You mean this?
Yeah. But do you do that when you're playing? Or?
I try. No, I don't. It's just that I don't know. It's very heavy metal, isn't it? Heavy rock, which I was kind of into back when I was a teenager. So it kind of comes with that. Old habits die hard. But I know I don't. That's far too risky because it can
Even
just.
with
You can start doing that and then whoa!
Oh,
You don't want to do that, you know. And then
what about have you had any accidents like in your years of drumming? Any sort of like disasters, I call it?
Not really. I mean, I guess one springs to mind, and this resulted in us making a decision of never drinking before playing a live show. It was a friend of mine had created this festival for his partner's birthday. Her family have got a big bit of land up near Aberdeen in a place called Muckles. So he called it Muckfest, and it was just basically we all know an awful lot of bands, so we got up and we got a marquee and we created this kind of independent festival. It wasn't as if we were selling tickets; it was just a big birthday party. And Attic Lights had just recently been signed to Island Records, which was quite a big deal at the time, and everyone was expecting us to go on and whatever. So we were asked to headline it, and by the time all the rest of the bands had played, it was about 2 a.m, and we'd been there since about 2 or 3 o'clock in the day. And because it's a party, we were a wee bit worse for wear at that time in the morning. So I was actually fast asleep on a bale of hay 5 minutes before we were due to play. So I had to get shook and awake. And then I was putting the drums, and it was just a disaster. I think I actually fell off the drum. I fell back.
No way.
Fell off the stage. And Jamie, who's the guitarist, was like, he basically just, I mean, we were all pretty bad, but maybe Jamie was the most sober, which I don't even think was anywhere near being sober. He put his guitar down and stormed off the stage. And then, the plug was actually pulled, and that was it. So, I would call that a disaster, but thankfully, it was just in front of a lot of pals. And as I say, it resulted in us never drinking before a show ever since then. So
Did you even finish one song or
yeah,
no?
well, we did. You know, it started off all right because we started off with a cover of the Beatles' "Come Together," and
All
fell
right.
in the groove. And then, but
Yeah.
then when we
Yeah.
started to try and play one of our own tunes, it just fell apart fairly quickly. So we managed to do like maybe one and a half songs. I think I started playing the introduction to Paradise City for some reason or another. So yeah. Anyway,
Oh, God.
that was
Yeah.
yeah. That was pretty much pretty disastrous, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember Richie from Richie Dempsey. I don't know if you
Oh
do
no,
you know.
Richie. Yeah,
Yeah,
no Richie.
Richie
Anyway,
Dempsey.
yeah.
That's actually one of his advices: not to drink if you're playing live. Never drink, beforehand. You can drink after your set, after you
Yeah.
saw, then drink as much as you like, but not
Mhm.
before going on stage. What about drumming heroes? Have you got any drumming?
I don't really know actually. I mean, I guess the obvious one is John Bonham, you know, so that's everyone's drumming hero. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of like, um, and then I don't know. I like folk that are kind of quite subtle with the drums, like and kind of. I like bands like like Sparkle Horse and Grandaddy, and they kind of their early stuff, they did everything. So
Yeah,
it's like they weren't really proficient drummers, but what they did sounded really good because of that. Do you know what I mean? Um, and I was quite kind of influenced by that style in terms of maybe not coming in at an obvious time or things like that.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I
But
guess.
do you still go to gigs? Do you still like?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And do you watch the drummers when you go to gigs?
I do. You can't not watch the drummer when you're a drummer, like and it kind of even being a musician sometimes. I try not to be, but like when you go to gigs, you're maybe sometimes a wee bit too critical of what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Because you do it yourself, rather than just a normal person that doesn't play music goes to a gig to enjoy the music, and then you're like, oh, I think you made a mistake there, or things like that, or even like well, that's not the way I would have done it, sort of thing. Like little, not that you're saying it, but it's an inner sort of
Yeah, yeah, because you know what's going on, and
yeah.
being a musician yourself. Yeah, yeah.
But like, I always know when the gigs that I enjoy most are when you've got that kind of feeling like I wish I was up there playing this right now. Do you know what I mean? It's like so when you get that in your head, you're like, I'm enjoying this gig.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my last question now is, I mentioned Richie Dempsey, so like advice to aspiring drummers. So, what would be your advice apart from not drinking, of course?
Um, I would say don't ever try and overplay. There's nothing worse than a busy drummer, in my opinion. I mean, I guess it depends on what style of music you're playing, but um, just play to the song and don't feel the need to be too busy or trying to do any kind of fancy things, regardless of if you regardless of whether you're capable or not. Just keep it straight and play to the song.
No twirling.
Absolutely
No,
no problem. Absolutely no problem.
no throwing the
Regardless if you can do that sort of thing, that's a terrible idea.
Well, thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Noel. I'm so like I really wish I could go to Glasgow on Tuesday to see you play with Constant Follower. And as you said, there's still some tickets left.
There is, yeah.
At the Glad Cafe in Stirling as well, the
The
day
Glad
after
Cafe in Glasgow and the Toll Booth in Stirling.
in Stirling.
I believe
Yeah,
there are still tickets left for both shows. I think the Glasgow one's almost sold out. Stirling
yeah.
one's a slightly bigger venue, so I think there's a wee bit more tickets for that.
Awesome.
And it's only even if you do miss the Glad Cafe one, Stirling is not that far away from Glasgow, so which I've learnt because that's where I rehearse with them. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to go to Three Stirling every week, and but it's really it's actually much closer than you would imagine. So
That's one place in Scotland that I need to go to because I have been to Dunfermline, Edinburgh, and all those places.
well, it's got
But
a lot of history Stirling, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I need to go there someday. But yeah, have a great gig
Thank you.
and say hello to Attic Lights for
Oh,
me,
well,
and
yeah,
yeah, and thank them as well. And also, hopefully, I'll get to see you on Sunday if you're there. If not, then I'll be
awesome,
at
awesome.
McKill's.
Depends how
Oh,
it goes, but we'll see. Hopefully, on my way
yeah.
back, pop my
Yeah,
head.
thank you so much, and thank you to Rosie the
Oh,
Nosy.
yeah, away again. You know,
He's gone out again.
just in and out. Just wants to see what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, take care always, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And
Thanks, man.
hope to see you again soon.
Nice to
So,
speak to you.
yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay,
See ya.
bye.
All right. Bye. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was so good. Thank you so thank you so much, Noel, for taking the time off just to be on Oster Chummer. That's really, really kind of him. And hopefully I'll get to see him next week. Because on Sunday, which reminds me, on Sunday there won't be Oster Chummer because like I said, I'm gonna be in Glasgow on Sunday to see Jerry Love do some his spinning some Northern Soul music at McCool. So if anyone in Glasgow on that day. It'll be, I think it's from 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock in the evening. So, us, the drummer, will be back on Monday evening with another awesome drummer guest. Hope to see you all again next week. And as always, thank you, Noel O'Donnell. He's awesome. He really is amazing. So, as always, love music, love life. Love, love, love drummers. We've seen Noel. He's so good. If you go to Mono, go to the cafe, look him up and say, before you go and see Mr. Pastel, say hello to Noel O'Donnell first. Because, yeah, he's amazing. So I'll see you all next week. And thank you all so much. Bye for now. Bye.